But how do I do that? How do I make that? How do I know that's true?
Yeah. The but I can't. That's an interesting one. And part of what goes on with the but I can't is because I have to prove it. Because it has to be reproducibles. Because it has to be, I can show it to somebody else and they can tell me it's really real. Because I can't really trust myself to discern it. I need someone else to tell me it's discernible. And that's really okay if it's something straightforward. But if it's something like, I create my own reality, who can prove that? Who can say that's really true? Nobody really can. So, but I can't then. And it's almost like you start off and then it just kind of goes into fog on the edges.
Yeah.
And when you get to that foggy place, you kind of distract yourself into something else. And so you can't stick with anything long enough to get past the foggy place.
Right, to really do the creating.
To really do the anythings. Right? Yeah. You do graphic work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you get into but I can't there, then the project never gets finished.
I don't get into but I can't in lots of places.
Yeah.
I can sing, I can lead singing, I can be up there being full on, full out.
It's the non-tangible stuff.
Yeah.
It's the non-tangible stuff.
It's my ability to believe that I can.
It's because it's the proving thing.
The proving thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of a science brain in there that wants to, like, have.
Surprising.
Yeah. You like 2 + 2 = 4, and when 2 + 2 = something like ostrich, you can't sell anybody else on it because you can't convince yourself of it. But there's a goddamn ostrich. So 2 + 2 had to equal ostrich because there is ostrich. And then you're like, but, and that's where it just falls apart.
Yeah.
So part of this is the fallacy of proof. You have to not think that proof is real. Proof is fake. Absolutely, without a doubt. Proof is absolutely fake. Now, you might say, well, some people can, prove this or prove that. We're like, fat chance. We don't believe in proof. Because we know you cannot convince anybody else of something they're not willing to be convinced of. Some people think you guys went to the moon. Some people think it's the biggest crock of crap that was ever propagated on the planet, right? And you start there, you go to everything else. And you might say, well, 2 + 2 = 4. Sure, if you're doing, regular math. But what if you're doing base 4 math or whatever it's called? And then 2 + 2 may not equal 4. So there you go. You've got to have all these rigid rules in order for there to be proof. That's why scientists like it. Because they create all the rules and then there's proof inside the rules. Well, if you get outside of those rules, all the shit falls apart. This is why quantum physics freaks them out. Because all of a sudden there's new rules all the time and there's no rules to hem it all in. Well, what are rules? Keeping it small. Okay, fine. If you want to study something small, you can have lots of rules and you can prove it. If you want to study something like we talk about that's expansive, that's transformational, that's on the edges of the universe, literally, you cannot have a set of rules that contains that. The only rule you guys get is you breathe and you've got free will. That's it. There's nobody else. No other rules. This is great. But when you want proof to feel safe and feel certain, you are not going to be able to reconcile those two things. It is not a provable existence that you have. You can't even prove you exist. Prove it to us. Right? We could probably justify that you don't exist way more easier than you can prove that you can. Right? All you have to do is start talking about how the fact there's more space between the molecules in your body than there is, hard stuff. But yet you're hard. Let's go do drugs and watch movies, right? That's just more fun. Like, I can't think about this because there's no box for it. And that's what happens to you, is you want the box for safety and security. And the but I can't is, but I can't prove it, reproduce it, contain it. You can't contain yourself. In your honest, authentic expression of you, it's bigger than all the boxes you've ever been given to put it in. That's part of your issue. So when you do but I can't, it's really the answer. It's not but I can't, accomplish what I want to accomplish. It's but I can't live in the rules and prove it to other people what I know is real for me. I can't prove it to you. And I can't even share it with you. And it's still real. And I'm not going to talk myself out of it with the science brain saying if you can't get in a lab and make it happen again, it's not real. That's, we've said many times that we attract people that are very, very intelligent. The big brains come to Eloheim. They probably go other places too, but they sure come here. They really, really do. And one of the things you have to struggle with or pass by or get at peace with is you can't prove it. Can't prove it. The proof is in the pudding. We like that. The proof is in the doing, in the being, in the experiencing. I'm changing. Compare you to you. That's why we give you compare you to you. We remind you of compare you to you. That's the only place proof can be found. And that's only proof within yourself. You can't justify it. You could write it down and say, look, on this day I got triggered when my ex called, and then a month later I didn't get triggered when my ex called. And someone goes, and you're like, damn. Like Veronica the other day, she's been doing her cello now for 2 years, and she's getting to learn vibrato, and that's, where you move your hand. And she said to her cello teacher, wow, after 2 years, I'm starting to feel like a real cello player now because I'm going to learn vibrato. And the cello teacher said, yes. She said, yeah, but I mentioned it to somebody. I was very proud of myself. And I said, I'm going to learn vibrato now. And they're like, you haven't been doing that all this time? And she's like, well, crap. And so the cello teacher said, just only say it to people who play cello, and they'll get what a big deal it is. Because everybody else doesn't know what it takes to get to the point where that's an appropriate next step. So if she had to prove to anybody that, wow, look, I've worked for 2 years and now I get to learn vibrato, and their outlook is, why haven't you been doing that all along? Is that going to diminish her achievement? Is it going to diminish her knowing of herself or your knowing of yourself? No. So you can't sell it to other people. So the but I can't has to be...
I'm trying to sell it to myself.
Exactly. Well, that's where we're just going. The but I can't has to be, but I can't make myself prove it to myself either. I'm just going to experience it.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever I experience.
Because
I'm like looking at it going,
yeah.
Oh, you're not having the same experience as that person over
Yeah.
there. Why can't you see purple when you close your eyes?
Yeah. Yeah. So you can be an artist and let your artistic expression out, but you can't let your authentic expression of how you experience yourself, you can't let yourself have it without sort of this boxing it up.
Yeah.
You need a lot of duct tape and packing tape and bows and shit to package that shit up. And if you just imagine the edges of the universe, really hard to create rules there because it's expanding all the time. That's what you're doing too. You're expanding all the time. There's no rules for you. You're listening to this, right? Yeah. There's no rules for you. And if you demand there be rules, then you're just screwing yourself up. It's like saying, I'm only going to use red. I'm just going to see what happens when I only use red. And after a while, your clients are going to be like, seriously? We could really, I want a logo and all red. They can't see the name of my business because it's all red. It doesn't, there's a problem here, right? You're like, but it's red. I'm sure of it. They're like, I don't care. I don't care that it's red and you're sure of it. I want a logo that people can read. You want to be able to read yourself and know yourself. And that means you gotta not require there to be rules. So how do you create your reality? For you is to relax about the idea that you have to prove it or reproduce it for it to be justified, and enjoy breaking out of those boxes.
Or like I don't have to experience it like anybody else experiences.
That would be a box, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good example of a box that you're breaking out of.
All those little limitations are all
boxes.
Things that, break down the boxes. Yeah. Hold them up, recycle them. Exactly.
And the idea being that if you have a box that's trying to contain you, but you're trying to use the box to make you feel safe. So I want to contain myself to make myself feel safe, and then I wonder why I'm so small, or I can't get bigger. It's because you're trying to make a box make you feel safe. Because a box is containable and reproducible. It's a lab, where certain things work a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You bring one of those scientists here, and we do one of the things we do, and they go, do it again. We're like, what do you mean do it again? That moment is gone. That energetic is shifted. What, do we have to break the person again to go back and reproduce it for you? To make it real? The person just had healing. Does that mean somehow we have to break their healing to show you to make it real for you? No. That's ridiculous, but that's kind of what you do inside yourself.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't real because it wasn't the way it happens for so-and-so, although it is kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, today I had this moment too, and I was working with someone where I just went, okay, I'm going to open to receive all of the healing that has ever come my way, because I've done just lots of work with energy work over time, and I still have psoriasis, and why do I, you know, there was this realization of just receiving, believing that it was really.
How about allowing? How about don't even bother with believing? How about believing will just be, you know, believe it when you experience it, but you got to allow first.
Allow.
Because if you say believing, scientific mind comes on, boxes pop up. I have to believe in order to have.
Okay.
Just freaking allow and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just going to allow it and see what it's like. I'm going to do it, see, be it, experience it, allow it, and then feel it and see if I like it. And if I like it, I'll allow it some more. And if not, I'll set a boundary. And maybe down the road at some point I'll believe it happened. But since believe might be tied into reproduce, maybe believe has to go out the window.
Oh, okay.
Off you go.
Thank you.
That's funny. Right at the end, she got it.
Yeah.